It's relationships. Number one most important thing, it was relationships. Because as soon as I go back out in the market, I reached out to everybody I had relationships with and said, hey guys, I'm back out in the market. Here's what I'm looking to do. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, I get a guy that makes a connection. That guy makes a connection, says, hey, we're buying for a hedge fund. You think you can help out with this? I can't get anybody that can put their head down and drive on this. And guys, I worked my ass off for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months to really get that thing grinding. And then it got parts and pieces up and running. And then I bought a real estate company in 2014 called Realty Direct, which is how I ended up meeting Larry. Right? Sold Realty Direct 15 months later for way more than I paid for it. Now I wish I paid more. Because you get, listen, 10 times anything is good, right? But 10 times more is gooder. Okay, man, I wish I'd paid $1 million for that. That would have been great. But I didn't. Okay, so took office makings, basically breaking even and 10 times the EBITDA number, which is the actual real number that they're making. And then that company got an opportunity to be purchased by Carrington Real Estate, which is how I meet Larry. And I become the regional VP for Carrington Real Estate. And next thing you know, Larry goes off to do something crazy. Like I'm going to do something batshit crazy. I'm joining this cult called eXp. And I'm like, enjoy the ride, dude. You're nuts, right? So Larry goes off and joins this eXp cult in 2016 or 17, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, Russ, you got to look at this. I'm like, I'm not stupid. Come on, don't. Like, how many of you guys resisted doing something in your life? Yeah. Sometimes you resist doing stuff in your life, right? That is what it is. So go for that company there's what 28 offices across the south half of the country, 1,400 or so real estate agents, just under $1 billion in sales. Okay. So that's kind of a fun ride. And guys, when I go in and talk and teach and stuff, people are like, well, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Like, let's connect to your people and let's connect with intention and let's add people that we want to do business with, we know, like, and trust, and build a professional and personal credibility. Because guys, here's the thing. If you want to do anything in any business or do anything in any world, right? The first thing is you got to have professional credibility in the real estate world, right? But you also have to have personal credibility. So what happens is in the process of building a business or building people around you, a lot of people build a lot of personal credibility. We show up, we go out, we have drinks, we go to dinner, we do stuff. I ride bikes, and lots of personal credibility. But the problem is in the real estate business, particularly, you've got to build professional credibility. And unfortunately, in the real estate business, we're teaching a lot and been taught a lot that professional credibility gets built like this. Guys, man, social media is super important. You got to post 3 times every single day. And then I see posts like this guy, Neil, and I'm not going to name his last name, but it's horrible that I see this post every single day. This guy following the recipe to the T, right? And it goes something like this. Here's a picture of his yard sign, right? And it's like, don't forget, if you need anything from real estate, let me know. Don't forget, I'm helping buyers and sellers find homes. Don't forget, I can list your house. And I'm like, block, just block. Guys, like, if I see one more post, look at me, I'm a realtor, I'm gonna like punch myself in the face, right? It's like if you go out and just go, look at me, 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 do you ever notice less people look at you? The more you say, look at me, the less people want to look at you, right? So when we start shifting, Larry, you said something interesting earlier. It's all about value. You are paid in direct proportion to the amount of value that you deliver. You are paid in direct proportion to the amount of value you deliver. So let's be clear, guys. You're getting paid exactly what you deserve. How do you like that? So people come to me all the time as a coach and they're like, well, Russ, I want to do whatever, right? I want to double my income. Great. What's your income? Listen, doubling $20,000 is easy, right? Doubling 200 actually is easier. Did you guys know that it's actually easier to 10x something than it is to 2x something? Did you know? It is, right? Because here's the deal. When you're trying to 2x something, double something, you're just trying to make minor little changes. You're making minor little adjustments. But when you start thinking, how do I 10x this? How do I 10x this? You got to start thinking different. You got to start thinking big. You got to start thinking strong. You got to start thinking outside the box, throw the box away, light it on fire, right? You got to
Yeah.
start thinking, I'm going to pull this thing completely apart and reinvent it. So what happens is that 2x thing is like, it's just a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And it kind of feels like a freaking nuisance because you're kind of making microscopic change after microscopic change. And then the results are so minuscule, it's sometimes hard to perceive. Okay. But when you start going 10x, you're like, listen, aim for freaking 10x on something. If you want to really change something, aim for 10x on something. And here's the deal. If you completely screw it up and land at 5, oh, the horror. If you miss the mark on 2, you're right back where you were, or you're not very far away from where you were. So start thinking a little bit different. People say, well, aim for the moon, aim for the stars. And if you hit the moon, it still beats the hell out of being stuck on Earth, right? So when we're starting to look at the way we're doing business, this professional credibility versus personal credibility, we got to start thinking professional credibility. If I'm going to build professional credibility, how do I add value consistently? Okay, so now here's the fun part, guys. If you can answer that question, how do you add value consistently? You can literally start to think, how do I 10x my business, right? So I go from making $30,000 a year to making $300,000 a year. I go from $300,000 a year to making $800,000 a year, right? You get these massive jumps come from making shifts in what you're doing. And the massive jumps come from shifting from trying to get something to trying to give more, right? Because in this business and in the world and in people and in relationships, like even in personal relationships, we're trying to get something, right? We're trying to get love. We're trying to chase a feeling. We're trying to find the right person for us to make us better, right? A lot of this relationship thing is really weird, and it's interpersonal, marriage relationships, significant other relationships, whichever way you guys go with that, right? But it's when you're looking at the relationships, when you start thinking, how do I build a good relationship with my wife? The more I give, the more I get. It's got to be give first, right? The more value I add to that relationship, the more I get out of it, right? So guys, listen, I've been telling all my buddies this for years, and maybe this is old school thinking, right? Call me old school. I'm damn near Puritan. You can't treat a woman better than she treats you, right? So guys, I want you to get out there and I want you to treat your significant other better. Just try to outperform them on treating them better than they treat you. You're going to lose every single time. It's the best loss you'll ever take, right? The better you treat them, the better you get treated back. And guys, it's no different with other humans, right? So think about relationships. If I'm in my relationship with my wife, and by the way, Larry, holy crap, I got to do a reality check on this. I almost want to cut myself in half and start counting the rings, see how long this tree's been out there. Dude, my wife and I are celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary in August. Like, how the hell do you get there?
Goes
Yeah.
by fast, right?
It's the craziest thing in the world. Actually, I was with Elizabeth Riley's group here in Austin, Texas. By the way, I'm at an Airbnb in Austin. By the way, that's why I got paper taped to the wall and my lighting sucks. So, but I'm enjoying the sunshine. It's kind of nice compared to Detroit, Michigan. So I'm at there, and I was like, guys, you don't realize like this relationship thing is huge. So I've been married 30 years this August, and everybody's like, holy crap, yeah. I'm like, yeah, 5 different women, but it's been awesome. All to the same girl, right? And guys, listen, there's sometimes I screw it up, right? Just part of the game. But for the majority of the time, we get it right. And when I try to say, hey, how do I have a better relationship? I start with me first, right? So when I'm starting in the real estate business, how do I have a better relationship? I want to start with me first. I want to start with me first. How do I do a better job? You're like, oh, Larry, you don't understand. My buyers are just a pain in the ass. My sellers just won't list their house for like, how do I improve myself first? And what I'll find is that the more I improve myself, the more people that are improved want to hang around me, right? Listen, guys, Larry, I don't know how often you're doing CrossFit still, but like back when Larry and I went toe to toe at the gym on wherever we were for business. And he's like, hey man, let's go to the gym, do the thing. So we go and do the thing. Like, listen, you don't hang out with Larry unless you want to freaking go. Because he's not backing down from any challenge at all, right? And then all the crew that's rolling around Larry, they're all a bunch of muscle heads, right? They're all thin and strong and muscular and fit and fast. Like you don't go in there looking like a slob and hang out with that crew, but you got to get your stuff together to hang out with that crew, right? It's the same thing with racing triathlons, right? The guys that were finishing, the guys that I was riding bikes with are running podiums in their age groups, right? the B group and C group and D group people are not riding with the A group people. You start in the D group and you work your way up, right? Next thing you know, you're in the A group. You might be at the back of the A group, but you're still in the A group, right? And this is how we got to start looking at a real estate business. Guys, there's other people that are out in front of you. Do you realize that it takes like 10% less or so effort to ride directly behind somebody on a bicycle? So I can ride with somebody 10% faster than me with the same amount of effort as they're putting in, right? And if you get in a bigger pack towards the back, it's like 25% less effort. So guys, think about it like this. Who's out in front of you that you can draft off of?
Yeah.
Start figuring out what do they do?
Who can you draft off of? Who can you learn from that is already has that model in place? That's huge.
So you watch NASCAR, they draft in a line, right? And then front to back to front to back to front to back to front to back. But here's the fun part, guys. You do realize you can put two cars side by side and they can actually draft off the sides of the car. So you don't have to be behind somebody to go faster. You get up beside the right person, both of you go faster. And this is what I'm thinking when we're talking about building professional, right? Start aligning yourself with the right people and start going better and moving the ball faster, right? Larry, how much time do we have today?
Generally we wrap up, we try and wind down at the top of the hour. So we probably got another 20 minutes of content and then open it up for questions for the last 10.
Perfect. Just want to make sure I'm being respectful of you guys. Okay, so here's the fun part. Build credibility, build professional credibility. So let's see. I think, did I see James Cottrell here?
Yes, I believe I saw him on here.
Yeah, James Cottrell, why don't you open your microphone for a second? Can you do that? Are you open to do that?
Yep. How you doing, Russ?
Dude. Hey.
Dude.
You and I've had some weird interactions over the last, what, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. And I did a training class with you guys. And then you said, hey, dude, can I like have some of that stuff? And I was like, yeah, man, cool. And then he started like, hey, can you give me this? James has been drafting off of me, guys.
Yep, for sure.
And I love it because you know what's a ton of fun when you're cruising along and you got somebody that wants to be there. So he put his hand out. I'm like, hell yeah, let's run. And this guy's already a freaking baller, guys. He's already a freaking baller. So James, if I was to give a quick preview of the 3 recipes that I gave to you guys, do you think that would be appropriate for today?
Heck yeah. Yeah, they're amazing for sure.
Okay. All right. So this is the direction I'm gonna go. Like, listen, guys, I can tell you how great I am until I'm blue in the face. You're gonna think I'm an ass. Like James just said it was pretty good, so we'll go with that. All right. So Justin, now you know why Larry and I get along. So James, thanks for that. I appreciate that. So here's the thing, guys. 3 recipes. By the way, you may hear me saying recipe. They're interchangeable. This is 3 recipes. And it's stuff that I figured out that this is the stuff that works to build professional credibility and get business to come to you. Okay. You're a real estate agent. You're out and about. Let me ask you a question. Larry, you're out and about goofing off and you meet somebody and you say to me, hey, Russ, well, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, oh, I'm a financial advisor. And then I say to you, hey, Larry, what do you do for a living? And you say?
My goal is to add as much value to people as possible and hopefully figure out where we can do more business together down the road.
Sure. And the early days, Larry'd be like, I'm a realtor.
Oh, yes. In the early days, for sure. That's yeah, I was the first to like, if I heard real estate or anything else, oh, I had to be in that conversation for sure.
Yeah. So for most of you guys, when somebody asks you what you do, you say, I'm a real estate agent, or I'm a real estate person. I'm a real estate guy, real estate girl, right? And then the next question out of their mouth is what?
How's the market?
Almost every single time, right? So here's the rub, guys. People ask this question all the time, and then we get taught in the real estate business as real estate agents, when you're earlier on in the game, we get taught, well, you got to have an elevator pitch, right? You got to have an elevator pitch. And then you got like 17 different gurus out there with 150 different ways you could do your elevator pitch, and you just got to find the right elevator pitch for you. So let me ask you guys this. How many of you guys have learned some kind of elevator pitch? Yeah. Okay, good. How many of you guys, when somebody says, what do you do for a living? You say, I'm a realtor. They say, how's the market? You give them their elevator pitch and they look at you and they go, oh my gosh, dude, tell me more. Never. Like, guys, so why are people still teaching this shit? Like they're teaching you something that doesn't work, and you go out and do something that doesn't work over and over and over and over and over. And then you start to blame yourself and figure, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something, do I have something on my face? There's got to be something wrong with me. And by the way, guys, this has almost never happened in the history. Like, let me back up. Caveat: if you are a very attractive young lady, young meaning anything under 95, if you're an attractive young lady, there are times when people, oh, tell me more. They don't want to hear more about real estate. They just want you to talk to them, right? And by the way, here's the next level, right? You ever have anybody be like, oh my gosh, let me give you all my personal info. Right. So the goal of an interaction, and we hear this, and this is right. The goal of the interaction is when you're out and about in your network, and so your goal of your interaction is to get people's info. We do an elevator pitch that pisses them off, scares them off, chases them off, and they never want to give you their info. So we feel like we're charlatans. We feel like we're panhandlers. Feel like I'm on the side of the road. 3 kids, veteran, and ran out of beer. Like, listen, of those 3 signs, the dude that said ran out of beer, need money, I'll donate money to him, right? The rest of them, I don't know if they're telling the truth or not. So we got to start saying, okay, do I want to come at people like a panhandler? How do I get something from them? You got to start shifting. Remember, guys, if I go into my relationship with my wife, how do I get something? There are times that I can do that. But if I do that consistently, it ain't going to end well. It ain't going to be long-term, right? So when I go into the relationship, how do I give? So let's just apply that to here. Somebody says, what do you do for a living? I say, I'm a real estate agent. They say, how's the market? And I'm going to shift the way I do this. So instead of me trying to get something, I'm going to give something. Watch this, guys. Ready? Try this today. Try this tomorrow. Go sit in a Starbucks. Put your Got Realtor sign on your laptop. Flip it open. Hang out. And somebody's going to be like, oh, hey, you're in real estate? Yeah. Cool. So that's the beginning of it, right? Somebody says, how's the market? Here's how you respond. Ready? You know what, Larry? Funny enough, somebody just asked me that the other day. I did a short video yesterday that's talking about the real estate market here in Austin. You want me to send it to you? And Larry goes, yes, I do. Cool. Give me your info and I'll send it to you tomorrow. Right? So guys, I don't send it to them today. I tell them I'll send it to them tomorrow. 2 reasons. Number 1, they just asked me for something and they asked me something and I offered to give them something that's in line with that. And they say, yes, almost every time. Secondly, then they're willing to give me their contact info because I've got something they want. Now they want to give me their contact info. I'm not getting anything. They're giving me something. See, there's a difference between me getting something from somebody and somebody giving me something. The end result is I still have something, but they gave it to me versus me getting it. Do you see how this changes the way I have human interactions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now the next day I deliver this and I'll drop it out to them either by text, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, and I emailed it to you too, because I'm going to take my little short video. I'm like, hey, Russ, real estate dude, here's a real estate market update for Austin, Texas. By the way, did you guys know Texas overall had a 55.8% appreciation over the last 5 years? That means if you had a house worth $200,000, it went up over $100,000, $110,000 over the last 5 years. So if people are saying, I don't know if I should buy a house or not, the answer is you should have bought a house 5 years ago. Next best time is now. I'm Russ the Real Estate Dude. Catch you next time. Okay. I take that video, I drop that video on social media straight from my phone. Okay. And then I upload that video to YouTube. I do not put my YouTube video on social because if I do, Facebook goes, I don't want to show that because if it takes them off of me and puts them on YouTube, I don't want to show them that. So I got to take a raw video and drop the raw video onto social, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Okay. And then I upload it to YouTube and then I'll send the email link also. And then I send them the hit going, hey, by the way, here's that short video I told you I would send. And I do it the next day for 2 reasons. Number 1, if I do it right there, and a lot of people would, if I do it right there, they're expecting it. Tomorrow morning, they completely forgot about me. They pop that little video and then they're like, holy crap, that's that Russ guy I met yesterday and he sent me the video like he said he would. And by the way, guys, when I send the email, I title the email, sending a real estate market update. And I was like, sending you the real estate market update like I said I would. How else do you build credibility in this business without doing things that make you look credible? This is the simplest interaction in the real estate business that I see done horribly for the last 20 years. And it's super, super simple shift. And then I'll get the call, Larry. So I did this a couple of weeks ago, and a young lady's like, I did the thing with you. And then I was on the thing, and I was at Starbucks, and I was sitting there, and I finished up, and I'm like, I got to start looking at the research. And she started doing the research on how to do the real estate market update for her area. And a person comes over and goes, hey, I didn't know you have a real estate thing. Are you in real estate? And she's like, yeah, actually I am. She's like, hey, how's the market? And the girl's like, Russ, I froze. And I'm like, why did you freeze? And she goes, because I had no idea how to answer the question. And I was like, so what'd you do? And she goes, I said to her, actually, I'm going to shoot a video on that later today. Would you like me to send it to you? And she said, yes. She's like, oh my God, I didn't even know what I was doing. And they said, yes. I was like, did you do the video? And she's like, no, I don't know how to do it. So I sent her a video on how to do the video. Okay. So guys, this is the simplest interaction in the world. So now let's shift the way we're doing business. Okay. Let's shift the way we're living our life. How many of you guys would like to golf more? How many of you guys would like to walk more? How many of you guys would like to actually do more of whatever you love? And that's what you use to build your business. And that's what you use to start making contact. That's what you started to use to make connection. Versus going out and chasing and going out and chasing and going out and chasing and going out and chasing. I want you to start thinking, as the number one part core of my business, I want to start attracting business. Okay. Here's the thing, guys. These are real numbers. Okay. 0.25%, 1%, 10%, and 63%. Okay. Real numbers. Ready for this? Let me explain what these numbers mean to you. 25% is the number conversion on the first 30, 60, 90 days of lead generation online. And so you're like, well, I don't know. I could argue that, Russ. We could argue about anything, right? We could argue about Larry's hairdo. Okay. But with that being said, let me go into a little more depth with you guys. So so what that means is it takes somewhere around 400 leads to get one closing in the first 30, 60, 90 days, right? And here's the thing, guys, keep in mind, typical lead generation, the leads are converting when you're working them for 12 months. Okay. The best conversion of lead generation is 12 months. And we know that because we know it's somewhere in the range of 10 touches to be able to get somebody to convert. And if you do 10, listen, if you do 10 touches and you look like Mike Tyson touching somebody in a ring, that's not helpful, right? That's just going and beating the crap out of somebody. There's acceptable touch and there's unacceptable touch. And what we found is that over 12 months, if you consistently touch people, you can get that conversion rate up to 1%. And you might say, well, Russ, that number's way too low. That number, no, man. No, these guys are converting at blah, 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 blah. You've got everybody and their brother out there selling you that conversion rate on lead generation online is between 2, 3, 4%, right? So by the way, one of the few things that I love that NAR does, National Association of Realtors does, is they actually went out and surveyed a bunch of real estate agents and said, okay, guys, what's the actual conversion from leads generation? And the end number is, I put 1% here to keep it simple. NAR came up with a range between 0.8 and 1.2% was what the conversion rate was, okay? Here's the thing, guys. They weren't just asking one person with one brand with one lead generation source. They were asking anybody that tracked their leads what their conversion was. So keep in mind, this is Zillow, this is Red Door, this is Trulia, this is Front Door, Back Door, Left Door, Right Door, Doggy Door. This is all of those, right? They interviewed these guys and they said, what's your conversion rate? And they came up with between 0.8 and 1.2% was the range. And this is just last year, guys, two-thirds of the way through last year. Okay, that's the actual current stat and what leads are converting at. So if you take that and divide that by 12, it's actually way less than 0.25%. But you can imagine a 0.25 in the first 30, 60, 90 days could easily convert into 1. Okay, but it's not 2 or 3 or 4. Well, here's the rub, guys. Here's the real rub. The real rub is this. The real rub is that the people that came back with this number, those are not the one. That's not average. The average people don't track their numbers. The average people don't keep records of this stuff. The people that keep records of this stuff are the ones that are playing this stuff at a high level. So this is the high end of the scale. Can you imagine the people that track it are actually probably the most judicious, and the ones that don't track it are not quite as judicious? Can you imagine some people that don't actually track what their conversion rates are? Those are probably not the top professionals in that part of sport, right? So these are the top end of the professionals, which means that the normal close rate for normal people is actually lower than that. So guys, here's the thing. When you're working sphere of influence business, you can get your sphere of influence to convert at 10%. There's coaches all around the country that'll say, we can get your sphere of influence converting at around 10%. Now, guys, listen, I'm not saying don't do this. But what I'm saying is I'm going to spend the majority of my time doing the highest percentage conversion rate first. And then if I have some time, I'll work on this stuff. But I don't want to spend all of my time working on this, banging, kicking, scratching, fighting. I got to work 10 times harder on this than I do on this to get the same results. Remember what I said about drafting? Guys, this is like jumping in the back of the pack and going like I gotta get 10 times more of the results for the same for the same inputs. The problem is that people are like, well, Ross, my conversion's nowhere near there. I said, I know, because you go into the relationship and somebody says, how's the market? And you're like, my job as a real estate agent is to help the buyers get the best house of their dreams for the best price and help listings get the top dollar for their house. Do you know anybody thinking about buying or selling real estate in the next 2 or 3 weeks? And they're like, Larry started it. They're like, fuck off. And that's the right response from them. And we're like, I don't understand why people don't want to do business with me, Russ. Well, because you approach the business like that. So when we start approaching the business, how do I give? Now I make a massive shift and I get people that want to come to me and I get this conversion rate to move, right? So if you do these things over the next 12 months consistently, you're going to get your conversion rate on your sphere of influence substantially higher. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So recipe number 1 is we're going to shift. And we're going to start doing number 1, most important thing. I'm going to start doing a market update every single month that tells people what's going on in the market. I'm going to do a hyper local one for my immediate hyper local area. And then I'm going to do one for the overall area. So for me in Detroit market, I'm going to do Livonia, Plymouth, Canton, Northville, Novi, that little pocket. It's about, 12 square miles or so. Okay. And then I'm going to do an overall for Detroit Metro, because people in Warren are moving into Plymouth. People in Plymouth are moving to Warren. People in Plymouth are moving to Birmingham. People in Birmingham are moving into Northville. Right? So people migrate around. People don't typically move from one house to another house in the same neighborhood. It's not the norm, right? They move in one neighborhood and out of neighborhood, in one town, out of another. So you've got to have a market update for a couple of different angles. Larry, I've got a video on how to do that better and really detail on that. Would you like to have access to that?
I would love it.
Cool. Okay. A couple of examples I've gotten there for you guys also. Okay. I'll give you that in a second. Okay. So here's the fun part. People say, well, Russ, if you want to work way less hours and make way more money, what do? You want to be a listing agent. 63% of sellers, when surveyed, said that they worked with somebody they knew, like, and trust. I think that number is actually way low, guys. I think we as an industry should do a way better job of this. Because listen, if Justin is their go-to person, they're not calling anybody else. If they know Justin and they're thinking about selling a house, Justin McLaughlin, if they know him, they're listing it with him, right? Because he's a baller, okay? So we've got to start saying, how do I add value to everybody in my sphere so that when people say it's time to list, they go to you first? Guys, when people list a house, the first thing they do is find somebody they know. And if they don't find somebody they find somebody they know and they ask them who they know. Okay? So most of the listings are coming from either direct sphere of influence or referrals from other people's spheres of influence, right? So for us guys, we got to start doing the things that make us look like an expert. Okay? So we got to start doing the things that make us look like an expert. Me standing with a giant key bragging about the fact that I just closed on a house does not make you look like an expert. It makes you look more like a panhandler. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm going to do that for a different reason. I'm going to do that to tell the story of how the seller was in a struggle and we helped the seller get what they want. The buyer was in a struggle. The buyer could not find a house that fit them, and we helped the buyer get what they wanted. Congratulations, buyer. So instead of look at me, I'm a realtor, we just had a closing, it's we had a buyer had a problem, we helped them solve the problem. Congratulations to the buyer. Good on you. Make it about them. If you make it about them, they'll think you're pretty damn good. If you make it about you, they're going to think you're a panhandler. Okay. So with that said, real estate market update is huge. You want to make sure you're getting that going all the time. You always want to have on your back pocket. So when somebody says, how's the market? Say, hey, I just did one a week or 2 ago. Would you like me to send it to you? And they go, yeah. It's like the freaking Ginsu knife, guys, of real estate. Number 1 biggest shift, add credibility. Okay. Recipe number 2. This is the one. This is one where I think James, I think this was the one. Correct me if I'm wrong. This was the second recipe. Is the one you're like, holy crap, I didn't think of it like that. Okay, so
Yep.
Yeah, the contractor list, guys. Build out a good contractor list. Okay, preferred contractor list. If you guys are in the real estate business, you're going to be dealing with houses, and if you're dealing with houses, you're dealing with things that break. Okay, so here's the math. Do you know how often the average American moves right now, Larry?
I would guess between 7 and 11 years.
Okay, pretty good range. Normal is between 6 and 7. 5, 6, and 7 is normal. It usually fluctuates up and down, okay? Depending on markets and timing and so forth and over decades, right? 6 is pretty normal, right? Currently, it's at 10. So you guys are going, what happens when it's 10? That happens. Inventory continues to stay low, right? Market has gone flat. We're in a stall. There's sellers that are just staying put. Are you guys seeing that? 10 years. See, here's the thing. When a number actually ties with what you're seeing, you're like, oh, shoot, that makes sense. Okay, so now knowing that, like the seller needs you once every 10 years now, Larry. So now what do? I have to be there for 10 freaking years? Yes, that's why you add value consistently, because that seller is only going to need you once every 10 years, but that seller knows other people that are going to need you potentially sooner than that. So getting referrals is important, but you got to make sure that you look like they're expert so that they refer you, okay? So here's the thing, Larry. You guys have heard of Grant Cardone and his 10X stuff? I like this for weaklings, right? Let's go 40X. Okay, let's 40X something here. Okay, Larry, you have a house. How often does something break on your house?
Regularly.
Okay. Would it be safe to say more than 4 times a year?
Yeah.
Okay. My house too. Okay, I've got a 1953 house. Love it. Cool little brick house in Michigan, between Detroit and Ann Arbor, and stuff is always breaking on the house, right? So here's the deal. If you just had 4 things break where you need a contractor every year, that's 10 times 4, which is 40 times more that they actually need you. And guys, let's be clear. If you become their resource for anything house related, including I have a preferred contractor list, then what happens is you have 40 times more contact with them over the next 10 years. If they call you when they need a plumber, guess who they're going to call when it's time to sell their house? Guys, it's literally as simple as that. So a lot of people are like, well, Russ, I'm a house. Look, I don't want contractors because contractors do weird stuff and they don't show up. So I'm only going to build a list of people that show up, communicate well, take care, good care of people, priced well, and they're nice. Okay. And in the process of doing that, there's a way to do that with social media. Larry, I've got a recipe on how to do that. Would you like to have a video on how to do that too?
I would love that. And guys, I will post all of this stuff in the workplace and the alliance so you guys have access to it.
Okay. So let me ask you this. If I had an 8-module setup where all 8 modules were in one place so you could look at those 2 recipes, and then the third recipe is how to do social media right. And you guys have heard me telling you little ticks of that through here. Social media done right. There's another recipe for that. So here's the thing. I'm not just Russ the Realtor. I'm Russ the Realtor that loves food. How many of you guys are foodies? How would you like to build your business intentionally on social? It's like, hey, I'm Russ the Realtor. Or for me, I always say, hey, I'm Russ the Real Estate Dude. And by the way, check this restaurant out. I bet this little place called Pepper Mill in Phoenix, Arizona. If you are out and about, mom and pop place, super great. They cook out in the open. It's fantastic to watch. You got these 2 dudes, looks like they're doing the Nutcracker Suite with fire in the background. Had the most amazing steak I've had in a long time. Fantastic filet, good prices, great food, fantastic environment. If you're in Phoenix, hit up the Pepper Mill. Okay. Social media post. I'm Russ the Realtor doing cool stuff. I'm Russ the Realtor. Check out this bike trail. I'm Russ the Realtor. Check out this golf course. I'm Russ the Realtor. Check out this church. I'm Russ the Realtor. Check out this yogurt place. I'm Russ the Realtor. I love ice cream. I'm checking out the top 10 ice cream places in town. Boom. By the way, I'm on a brisket bender since I'm in Texas. I ate more brisket in a week and a half than I've eaten in my life. Okay. So you can do stuff on that, right? So now that's the 3 recipes. So Larry, here's the deal. For all of you guys here, jump on jumpstartmasterclass.com. Just go to jumpstartmasterclass.com. Write it down. Guys, I've got 8 modules that walk through this. You remember Adrian Petrilla?
I do.
Okay, so Adrian Petrilla actually had me doing something for him. He's like, can you just shoot the videos on that stuff? He's using that for doing some other things with business. And I was like, can you make a clone site for this? So there's a clone site of our site, which is unlimited closings, blah, blah, blah. So we've got unlimited closings, which you can use this system to generate unlimited closings, guys, and really make your business move in the right direction for you. Just take those 8 modules and run them. And actually on Fridays, I've gotten suckered into doing an every Friday mastermind, which is actually in about half an hour, 45 minutes from now. We'll do a mastermind where people I just want to ask, like James Cottrell had questions. After he saw, he's like, now I got a bunch of questions, Russ. As he started implementing it, he had questions. So now I've got like a 1-hour block. I'm just containing a 1-hour block. If you got questions on how to implement that stuff, it's on Fridays. Adrian has it set up where you could do the first month of that no cost to you guys. So you can jump on for 4 weeks and be able to and not have to pay anything for it. And we're just doing like a $97 a month type of thing for the people there. And it's mainly because he has to do it also. And he doesn't work for free. Well, neither do I, but he doesn't work for free either. So it's a small cost, but it takes up time. So everything else on there's no charge, guys. It's free access, all 8 modules and all the support stuff and all the pieces that go with it. The 30 points to success goes with it. Guys, do the 30 points to success. It's a game changer. What are you really doing today? Did you do business building, money making activities today? Start tracking it, and you'll find your business pops out the other side way stronger. So there you go.
Beautiful. Man, that was a lot jammed into a very short period of time, guys. And he did very close to getting us, he's 4 minutes over. So, but we still got 6 minutes for Q&A, questions, comments, concerns from my man Russ Laggan over here as we talk about this.
Hey Russ, it's Joseph. How you doing, man? Glad to see you on here, buddy.
Good, man. Good.
Hey,
Joseph. I know you. I didn't recognize you with the hat on.
little bit. So just want to share with everyone what an amazing leader Russ is. Russ helped us to bring over, and some of the folks are on here, a 53 agent brokerage. They're on. It happened, Russ. You were a huge instrument in that transition. So just wanted to jump on and say thank you. They're not only a part of us here at eXp, they're a part of this mastermind as well. So thank you for that.
Good. It's always interesting to me when we do, like, for me, a lot of the stuff that I do, I don't get to see the results. I'm like, I do what I do, and then like thank you for telling the rest of the story, right? Because it's great because we put everything I got into everything I do, and it's like what ended up happening with them. My job is to do the front part of it, right? So I love that you guys got that close. So fantastic. And it's a big part of what I do, guys, is helping make sense. So we do a huge part of, like, I'm a senior director of growth for US West and Central US. And a big part of what I do is we jump on. It's like, hey guys, what do you want your life to look like? And how do you get there doing it here or doing it with us or doing it around us? Like, you want to ride faster? Dude, we got a group of 40 people. You just jump in the back and ride with us. And as you get stronger, you move to the front. And people are like, dude, I would love that. You want to get faster? Ride with us, man. We'll tow you for a while. And people love that. You just got to figure out to make sense. And Joseph, one of the things we did is we made it about them, right? We literally made it about them and how they could get what they wanted. And they're like, that's what I want. And I'm like, okay, hit the button. And they hit the join button. Okay.
And if you guys noticed, right, like we got 54 leaders from across the country on this call, all doing massive amounts of business, right? Like this is that group, right? This is who we draft with. This is who we grow with. And the goal is that, next year we're at 100, right? We're at 150 that are all adding value and stuff like that. And that just comes from us finding our circles, right? Finding your niches that you guys align with and adding massive amounts of value to them to where they're like, damn, why would I not do more business with Deneen, with Robert, right? With Latrice, like that's who I want to learn from, right? And that's how we do it, is by adding value to other people at the end of the day.
Yep. Good stuff.
Man, absolutely great content as usual, man. It was absolutely beautiful. Anybody else have questions, comments, concerns, or anything for Russ?
I just got one question for Russ, and he already knows what that is.
How did I grow my hair back so fast?
No. Where is it? Where is it? It's missing. You look naked, man. Where is it?
Dude, yeah. I've been doing so. I was in a car wreck in 2021, and I've been dealing with some neck issues since then. I did my 4th round of PT in January, and the whole necktie thing. It's just I did my workout yesterday, and I'm paying for it, baby. I'm freaking paying for it. So in order for me to actually function and not go full migraine mode, I'm no tie today, which I know is weird. I know it's weird.
It's so weird. It's so weird. But I'm sorry that it was such a negative story. So I will digress.
Thanks, Justin. Hey, listen, if it makes you feel any better, I'm not wearing pants either.
Weirdly, it does not make me feel better.
I know. That's why I said it. I'm kidding. I am actually wearing pants, but it's still funnier. to mess with you guys. But yeah,
It'd be weirder if Jeff Russell wasn't wearing pants right now and he's driving in a car. That would be more weird to
exactly.
me.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
riding. I'm
I
riding.
can't get out of the car. And guys, listen, like, here's the thing. It doesn't matter where you're at and where you go in the world. So, and what you build and the companies you build and the numbers you did and the blah, 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 blah. None of that matters if you're not having fun, right? So my mantra is happy, healthy, wealthy, wise. Happy first, right? Happy first. So to like find that way to be happy. And I'm not talking about doing drugs and getting drunk and all that. That's not real happiness, right? So find the way that you can be happy. Find the things you love. Pay attention to it, right? The things that don't make you feel good, pay attention to that and then do something different. Stop doing that and try something different. You'll find what makes you happy. It's literally I've got it tattooed on my forearm. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise. It's backwards in my handwriting. So when I look in the mirror, I can see it every day. Happy first. And when I started to figure out that happy first thing, my whole life changed. Because stop chasing the other stuff. It's happy first.
Yeah.
What makes you happy? Do that well. And it's infectious when you're happy.
Absolutely. That's beautiful, man. Real quick, guys, before we get off here, there were some big announcements yesterday, right? There's a lot of earnings calls and things like that for a lot of companies going on the stock market. Anybody see what eXp announced yesterday on their revenue share earnings call?
They said a lot. Which part of Utah?
So a big part of it is, right, like we're experiencing a changing, some people call it a weakening real estate market right now, right, which is going to affect a lot of companies. And despite that continued weakness in the market, we still delivered solid revenue in the fourth quarter leading into this, right? And so as we look forward, right, this model that was designed, right, to be successful, like this model specifically with eXp was designed to be successful in all markets, not just an up market. And we've talked about this on multiple calls because there's going to be continued to be clones and people that are like, man, that model's working really well. Let's jump on and open up another one. But when you have borrowed money, when you have this, when you have that, it makes you not able to pivot and be successful in an up market, in a down market, and in a sideways market, only an up market at the end of the day. And so that's where I want you guys to just start thinking, right? Because there's always these distractions and, oh, what if I was the first one and this and that? But here's a few things that were key for what my takeaway was from the revenue call. Was that eXp, one, has ample cash, zero debt. That is huge. And consistent positive cash flow to weather the storm of no matter what comes our way. And as we've been talking about, right, like we've been on this uphill trajectory for, man, 14 years in this cycle, which is way above normal. And so now we're seeing this, right? I think as we spoke about, as the election comes, we'll see interest rates pull back. We'll see a parabolic upswing in all assets, crypto, stock, real estate. And there will be a small window for us to make a hell of a lot of money, right? But then we have to have exit strategies and pull that out of the market. Otherwise, you're going to ride it all the way back down when that market starts to correct itself. So that is the first thing, right? eXp is not just maintaining, but increasing its investments in the agents and the community, despite the tough market. Agent splits are increasing, gross margin is declining, which makes us extremely agent focused still. And it is the only brokerage that is majority owned by agents, employees, and by our founder, right? A lot of these other companies are doing lots of venture capitalists. All of that money has to be paid back at some point in time. And we are outperforming other brokers in the fourth quarter as far as production and stuff is concerned. So again, a part of why we got on this is not just for right now, but for the future of what we're building and stuff as well. And that's where it's important to know the financials of any company that we're aligning with and stuff there. So I wanted to just make sure that you guys had information and stuff on that.
Yeah, that's important information, Larry. And I think the one thing that's salient about the whole thing is it's not what we're doing, it's what we're doing in relation to what everybody else is doing. So it's like everybody's got a headwind right now, and people are like, you're not gonna believe that we got a headwind, but we're still in the front of the pack.
Mhm.
So we're still at the top of the heap. So even if we went into full losing money and we lost less, we're still losing less than anybody else, which is the key is obviously always want to make money, but businesses go up and down, incomes go up and down and so forth. So in this type of market, being the top of the heap, outperforming market is huge. We had a deal where somebody's like, Russ, you got to grow this company 43%. I'm like, no, it's not 43%. It's more like 68%. He's like, it's not 68. I'm like, the market's down 25 and you're asking me to go up 43. So that's 65 or 63% above what the market's doing. And you're like, well, yeah, that's a good point. So it's how do you perform in comparison to what your peers are doing in that same environment? And real estate agents, all real estate agents have less sales right now for the most part. So if you're down less than the others, you're doing good. And you got to start measuring it like that because it's important to measure yourself against what everybody else is doing in that same environment. Might be your slowest 5K ever, but if you're all running into a 50-mile-an-hour headwind and you still won the race, you're still winning the race.
Very cool. Anybody have anything else to close out here? We're a few minutes past and stuff like that, but man, this has been a lot of great content. I see the comments, so it looks like you guys have got something out of this, which is the overall goal. Russ, man, I want to thank you so much, my brother, for everything. I just sent you a text message. Check your calendar. Let's see if we can make it up to the ranch and stuff there at some point while you're here in Austin. But anybody else have anything to close out?
Hey, I just
Thanks
wanted to
so
add
much,
something
Russ.
real quick.
Thank you, Russ.
Welcome.
Hey, Russ, thanks for being on.
Yes.
And every recipe that he talks about is really practical advice. His 30-point system is stellar, and he makes really badass bass guitars too. So super cool, dude. Thanks for being here, Russ.
Thank you, sir.
He does not make samurai swords. He is not that talented. I'm just putting it out there. Do not request a samurai sword from him, no matter how bad you want it.
It's definitely a lack of talent and skill.
All right, guys. Well, as always, I love all of you guys. Thank you guys, man. Just seeing this group continue to grow is because we continue to add value and bring people into our circle. So continue it, guys. Invite others that you think add content. If there's guests that you know that would add some value to our group, introduce me to them. I'll interview them. If it's aligned with what we're trying to build here, I'll bring them on and we'll see how we can grow together. But go out there, kick ass this week, and I'll talk to you guys next Friday. Have a great day.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.